Well, Ukraine's president says he's prepared to meet Russia's demand and guarantee the country won't join NATO. Peace talks will resume tonight as Russian forces ramp up their attacks on Ukraine's capital. CNN senior international correspondent Sam Kiley joined me from Kiev a short time ago. Sam, Kiley, appreciate your time. What is the very latest on the ground?
Well, we are a few hours in now to a 36-hour curfew. That is a complete non-stop curfew that's been imposed through tonight and then all day tomorrow. And there has been, as the sounds to the west of the city, of very heavy fighting. Now, I think the latest reports coming into us are that this is actually potentially a Ukrainian counterattack against the sort of mayhem that we've seen being wrought by the Russians, particularly in the west of the city, starting this morning in the latest attacks on civilian areas with an attack on a tower block that killed 4 people in a 16-storey tower block in the west of the city. There have also been attacks on civilian areas in 3 other parts of the city this morning. The sounds, though, of this latest round of fighting have eased off. They've been up and down through the night. We're into the early hours of the morning now. And this is all coming as the President Zelensky received 3 prime ministers from European countries in an historic visit of terms that they use to show solidarity with what's happening here by turning up and seeing for themselves. Quite a striking move being made by those 3 European Union prime ministers to take a train journey across the country to visit Ukraine's capital in the middle of this Russian assault.
Remarkable scenes. Has there been any progress when it comes to those talks between Russia and Ukraine?
There has been some indication from some of the advisors to President Zelensky that there is now a form of dialogue rather than 2 sides with their own monologues. They are continuing, they were expected to continue their talks tomorrow. They've been conducting these talks not face-to-face lately, but remotely. They had begun, though, with face-to-face talks. And there is some indication coming from the Ukrainian side that they think there may be some potential for positive movement, and no such confirmation or denial, I have to say, from the Russian side. So we'll just have to see. Of course, these are very preliminary stages of talks, and a lot of that may depend on how things go militarily, particularly from the Russian perspective, who appear at the moment to have lost momentum, to be suffering some real strains to their logistics chain, appealing to China for military resupply, suggesting even that there may be a potential for them to try to recruit mercenaries in Syria to augment their troops here on the ground that have been hit pretty hard by unexpected levels of Ukrainian resistance.
Sam, do we have a clear picture of the death tolls so far and the extent of losses that Ukraine has suffered?
The death toll is extremely difficult to assess and varies very widely. If you consider that in Mariupol, 36 hours ago, the deputy mayor there was talking about a death toll of some 2,500 civilians. That's not counting a military death toll. The central government puts out slightly different figures. The United Nations puts out much, much lower figures, but says that these are probably, by their own admission, underestimates. So I think it's a dangerous area to go too much into very detailed ideas about exact death tolls. Of course, we don't know any accuracy at all on the Russian side, particularly among the Russian forces, because the Ukrainians claim they've killed many thousands of Russians. There's no confirmation whatsoever from Russia, and Russia traditionally covers that kind of data up anyway.